It's 5:24.
Now, the government has announced plans to allow farmers to cull badgers in parts of England where cattle are most at risk of TB. Now, it's something that farmers groups have campaigned for, but it's been controversial because badgers are, of course, a protected species. In July this year, the conservation group, the Badger Trust, managed to halt a proposed trial cull in Wales after taking the Welsh Assembly to court. We're going to speak to two people: the former Queen guitarist Brian May, who now runs a wildlife charity called Save Me, and Peter Kendall, who is president of the National Farmers Union. Good afternoon to both of you.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Peter Kendall, just to tell me, as you see it, what is the problem with badgers and with TB?
Firstly, if I could correct you, they haven't announced they're going to kill badgers. They've started a consultation to make sure that they get all the evidence correctly put before people and stakeholders to make sure we can look at how we might control badgers. We have such a severe and serious threat to the farming industry of the spread of TB in wildlife, badgers being the worst transmitter of that, to a point where we've gone from having to kill 6,000 cattle in 1998 to 4,000 now. This isn't about eradicating badgers, this is about starting to plan for how we control this deadly disease.
Brian, what do you say to that?
You know, this kind of caught me on the hop because I was making music all day and then I sort of came out and saw this in the headlines. I feel so angry and disgusted that I'm probably not going to be very good on this programme. I'm sort of too angry to speak. I've been so pro the farmers' fight against this disease, you know, and of course we need to control bovine TB, but all the scientific evidence, all the proper scientific studies that have been done, including killing 11,000 badgers, came to the conclusion that culling badgers, and I quote, cannot meaningfully contribute to the control of cattle TB in Britain. It's absolutely clear, and all sorts of people from the NFU and the Countryside Alliance have been sort of disputing this, but that is the fact. You know, if I thought for a moment that this was going to work, I might feel a little differently. But there is a moral issue as well. Do we have the right to start killing off our wildlife because we can't manage our farming properly?
OK. Peter, that point that Brian made, that culling badgers won't meaningfully contribute to getting rid or eradicating bovine TB, what do you say to that?
He said all scientific evidence says, well, he's just wrong. There is some scientific evidence, and some of the independent work that was taken on by DEFRA, the government department, actually the further you extrapolated that work, it did show a decline in TB, and what it said was it wasn't cost effective. Well, this consultation is looking at how farmers can do that in a more practical way rather than paying for civil servants to go out there and do it, is obviously going to be a costly exercise. The point about the moral duty is that tragically, sadly, the countryside is a complicated mix. We have vermin, we have rats and mice that might get in our food if we didn't control them properly. We are a crowded urban island here in the United Kingdom, and if we're going to produce food in a way that's sustainable, sometimes we have to make difficult choices. And it's sad that we have disease.
It's more than sad.
Of course it's sad. I'm acknowledging it's sad, but actually
Peter,
killing 40,000 cattle is sad as well.
Yes, well, you kill them, not me, you know, and that's what really pains me. You know, farmers say we really care about our animals, but they're all going to go to slaughter or else they're going to be killed if they don't yield enough milk anyway. I don't think farmers can really pretend that they're benevolent towards animals, which we basically abuse and manipulate for our own ends.
Brian, how would you sort this problem? If you say that
there's one
the culling...
answer. There's a very easy answer. It's vaccination, and Hilary Benn had a 5-year plan which was already starting to show results, which would vaccinate the badgers, and it would eventually vaccinate the cattle as well. It's quite a complex scenario, but we all believe, you know, we who are trying to give a voice to wildlife, that there are other ways of solving these problems. I mean, you're talking about a 6% improvement if you kill all the badgers in England. Who wants to do that? Who wants their grandchildren to grow up in a country where we've exterminated our wildlife?
That's just not true.
Peter, just very quickly, what about vaccination?
We welcome work on vaccinations. We're not looking at a silver bullet wiping out all badgers. That is a complete misconception of what we're trying to do. We know we have to intervene in the countryside to make sure we can feed the population, we can deliver the sort of diet people want, and actually control as few as badgers as possible in the process.
But what about vaccination over culling?
Well, it's not an either or. You actually need to get the population to a point where you can then protect them. And actually, the vaccination at the moment is a long way off. We want to see it develop. We're supporting it.
It's not a long way off. It's already proven. The tests are already showing positive results. You know that.
Look, if you want
I don't
to,
know why you guys are so intent on killing badgers. It actually baffles me.
I want vaccination to work, and let me tell you straight. If you're going to try and get, if you want it to work in badgers, you need to get over 80% uptake.
Okay.
These are wild animals. You just can't do that. It's not working in a laboratory.
Okay, thank you to both of you. That is Brian May and Peter Kendall.